Oh, y'all about to be mad at us. Let's just jump right on into it, okay? Activist Sean King is saying white Jesus images are a form of white supremacy and should be taken down. Twitter went nuts. They call him Talcum X. They want to beat him down and take him out, and they are angry. We can't be messing with that image, that false image of Jesus. Can y'all speak on Jesus being blonde hair, blue eye, living on the equator pretty much? Super hot situation. I mean, I live in Texas and I get really toasty out here. So please, let's discuss. What do y'all think about the image of white Jesus and this movement now to address that and make that right and to take down that image? They're taking down Christopher Columbus. They're taking out a whole bunch of folks that were described as heroes in society, in the world. Is that going too far? Are we going to go for it? Are black folks going to even go? There's some black folks that won't go for it, right? Cam, you were saying that on the break?
Man, I guess I'm going to just go ahead and say it.
Say it, sir.
So look, I just feel like when you start talking about the color of Jesus, already it's a controversial topic. There's a lot of black people already that believe that, you know, even them, their view of Jesus is a white man. You know what I'm saying? So it's radical to even them because they have this picture of, you know, this guy with the shaggy hair on the cross to look a certain way. Now, a lot of people will say, hey, you're forming religion, you're mixing religion and race. Now, if we really think about this, if we go to the 1400s, race and religion are hand in hand. We got shipped over because the Latins had to figure out a way to find out what was good and bad, and they decided to choose color. So when we started thinking about why we got taken, of course, we had our people sell us to the Latins, but it was divided and chose to make the slaves based off of color and what was bad based off of color. So, I mean, I feel like religion and Christianity especially, it's got its own demons, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, majority, I feel like, of black people grow up in all of these different denominations of Christianity, and there's a separate, you know, different types of churches, like black people going to white churches and feeling certain types of ways, not being able to go there. You know, I think Lecrae he just had some controversial thing that happened where a white pastor was explaining to him that I guess slavery was God's blessing for white people. And that Lecrae didn't say anything. He kind of just shook his head and nodded, because, you know, when ministers, they speak, you know, it's so eloquent. It's moving you by your emotions, and we're like, yeah, we're enticed by the emotional kind of compellingness of being, you know, swept away, or whatever it is. And
some bullshit like, you know, we should stop looking at it like white privilege, but perhaps through our tragedy, we should look at it from a different angle. More so, it's less of a white privilege, more of a white blessing.
It's a white blessing.
And pacify us and make us feel better because we're Christians, right?
It's crazy. It's crazy. But
we have a couple of comments I want to read really quickly from the chat. Okay, Levon says the KKK is supported by the U.S. government and Nazi party, just like Trump is supported by the Russian government. Everett Sherrod said they feel empowered thanks to Trump. And Levon also says, white Jesus is a portrait of Michelangelo's uncle. And XOXO Bob says, wasn't Jesus semi-brown?
We might as well get on
What color was Jesus, Brett?
Listen, I'm one of those people that if I don't have the facts, if I can't see it, there's no videos of it. You know, I need.
Blondes live in that area of the world.
Listen, I don't, but you never know. Somebody could have got dropped off there, and you know,
Jesus got dropped off. Okay,
could have got dropped off there, you know. But no, I'm kidding. But do I think? You know, based on history, based on everything that we know, based on everything that I know, no, I don't think so. But you know, do we want to completely desecrate, you know, everybody's belief of God, whether you're black, white, Asian, or whomever? And that's really up to you. You can believe in whatever you want to believe in. Now, when you start talking about history, however, Christopher Columbus, right, that's history, and that's factual based. And we can now show that is not exactly how it happened, right? How he came over was not the right, it was not the way that we read in the history books growing up, right? That's not how I read Christopher Columbus growing up, right? And so if you want to take his statue down, go for it. If you want to take some of the other statues down of slave masters, quote unquote, go for it.
Does anybody else feel the same way, that I didn't realize there were so many awful statues right under our noses? I never really paid attention, where they're petting black people, and they the white man's dressed and the black man and the Indian and just like savages. I never even noticed these statues, and that's my bad, actually.
I had no idea. I had no idea, and I live in the South. I've lived in the South most of my life, and to be right here in Georgia, you know, where we have the largest granite Confederate monument, which is that of Stone Mountain, where we have, you know, those four Confederate generals on it. I knew the history of that, where the KKK uses that and continues to use that as kind of a stomping ground and a meeting spot. I had no idea. And again, it's that ignorance, and ignorance isn't always seen as a negative thing. I literally didn't just look up the statue that I was driving by that was at the Capitol. I literally just never looked it up, you know. But when we now are exposed, you know, when you know better, you do better. That's the saying I think that this movement has adopted. When you know better, you do better. And for us to be, I think for a lot of people, they are just now realizing that, wow, that Confederate flag, oh, that's a loser's flag. I think a lot of people.
Right, I thought America's about winning. Like, why is the loser's flag? Like, that flag.
Confederacy, that was their flag that they waved, you know, even after losing to the Union during the Civil War. So much so that they said, you know what, we're not taking this back and down. And decades later, they built monuments all over the freaking America. So I think it's, you know better, you do better. But I'm with you, Claudia. I had no idea. But now it's time to take them down. And it's not erasing history. That's not erasing history.
It's not erasing history. It's making, actually, it's writing it wrong. The flag, I'm going to move on from the flags. I want to get Cam in this conversation about another change being made. The flag to me is like, and Brett, you feel me on this, like, you know, when your two favorite teams go to the Super Bowl and they prepare for their winning team to win, they print a whole bunch of those Cleveland Brown t-shirts on, but then they don't win, so they send them all to, like,
Nigeria.
Right, overseas, wherever there was a hurricane. Get out of here with that nonsense. Nonsense.